I know she's thought about this, and just help her to remember the thoughts that she intends to share that you've given to her. And just open our hearts, do a wonderful work. This is very special and very precious, and we receive it from you, and we pray this in Jesus' name. And thank you for this family being here. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Bless you.
I'm nervous, so bear with me. I brought my family because I wanted to do something special for them. First of all, I was baptized in this church. All my kids, except for one, was baptized. And I kind of strayed away from the church. And I was going for a while, and then I strayed and got away from it. A lot of things happened in my life that I'm not too proud of. And, but I rededicated my life to the Lord a couple weeks ago. And the reason, back in 2009, October 23rd, the reason I remember that date because that's the date that my husband died, back in 77. Anyways, I was coughing a lot. I thought about just a cigarette cough, you know. So I didn't pay no attention to it. Of course, my kids used to always get on me, Mom, you need to go check this out, you need to go to the doctor. But I was stubborn, I didn't want to go. Well, I went to bed that night, and I woke up about, I guess probably about 4 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't breathe, couldn't get no air into my lungs. I called my daughter-in-law, Shelley, and I asked her, I said, could you take me to the emergency clinic? So she was right over there. She took me there. They checked my O2 stats, which was horrible, I guess. So they told her to take her to the emergency room right away. They admitted me to the hospital. Turned out that I had pneumonia and COPD, which COPD is a lung disease that you die from. There's no cure for it. It's just a slow, progressive disease. So anyway, I was in there in about a week, and they was giving me so much medicine and taking so much blood out of my forearms that my veins collapsed. So they had to put a catheter up here where they could get blood. About a week afterwards, I started feeling confused and dizzy and just kind of disoriented. So Shelley went in there, she told the nurse about it. The nurse came in there, she just kind of looked at me and she said, well, what do you want me to do about it? And I thought, duh, do something. But she didn't, she just walked back out of there and she said, well, she said, call me if you need me for something else. Well, I guess the next day I was served lunch and I tasted it, and oh my gosh, everything tasted like if I was eating pure sugar. I told my son-in-law, I said, I can't eat this stuff. I said, I'm going to lay down and go back to sleep. Which I did, and I don't remember nothing else after that. I guess I stopped breathing on my own. I started having violent seizures. They took me to ICU. They put me on a breathing ventilator and restrained me to the bed because of the seizures. They induced a comatose state, so I wouldn't be fighting them, so I could get my body rest. Come to find out, well, I remember my son, and this I'm in a comatose state, I don't remember much of it, but I do remember seeing my son's face. And his face was as white as a ghost, and he looked like he'd been crying. He looked so scared. I wanted to comfort him, but I couldn't. I was in that state, so all of a sudden I went back to sleep. I remember hearing my granddaughter, Christina, she came up here from Houston, Texas, to see me. I guess what had happened is that I had Dr. BJ, which was a kidney specialist. They told them that the doctors had over-medicated me. They wasn't watching my sodium intake and my fluid intake, and that's why I went into seizures. And they said they could bring it up slowly or they could bring it up fast. If they bring it up fast, it would cause me brain damage. If they bring it up slowly, well, they tried to do that. But she said, told my daughter, she said, basically, she says, nothing we can do for her. It's between her and God whether she lives now or not. Well, as you can see, God had a purpose for me. He gave me the second chance. He said, I'm not through with her yet. She's going to she's gonna serve me more.
Amen, amen.
And I've gotten so close to God, I've even dreamed, I had a dream one night, and this was about 2013, which was about 4 years after my, in the hospital. I dreamed that, and I hadn't been going to church, but I had dreamed that a friend of mine, we went to this church. It was an old abandoned church. The roof was leaking and it was tore down, not painted. And so everybody went in, and this pastor told us that the services wasn't ready to start yet, but to take a can of vegetables and a can of fruit, and to go outside and eat them, and then afterwards put them in each separate containers. I didn't know exactly what it meant, but, so we did. Everybody went in. Of course, I was the last one to come in. And as I was walking to the inside of the church, I heard this voice out of nowhere. It was a very strong voice, but yet gentle and soft. And I heard him say, "Do you trust me?" And I said, and I knew in my heart right then and there was God. And I said, "Yes, I trust you." And he told me to take a message and give it to the church. Tell the pastor, tell all the people that was in the church his message. Well, I did, and nobody believed me. And so everybody, the service was ended and stuff, and who was walking out, everybody from the church was gone except for me and the pastor and my friend. Well, they were standing up on the stairs talking, where there was, on the side of the church was an old abandoned cook stove, a gas cook stove. It wasn't hooked up or nothing, it was just broken down and ready for somebody to haul off. I heard that voice again. He asked me, "Do you trust me?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Do you trust me with all your heart?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Put your hand on the back of that burner of the stove." So I did. All of a sudden, a fire came on that stove. And I never felt the heat. I never got burned. And I turned to the pastor and to my friend, and I said, "This is what I was talking about. God has talked to me. He wants me to deliver a message to you, so you will know that he is real, and he is there for you." And so that's what, but I've got one more thing that I'd like to say. It's in Proverbs 3, chapter 3, verse 5 through 6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct you to your paths."
Amen.
And also Matthew 21:22, it says, "Whatever you shall ask in prayer, believing, and you shall receive."
Amen.
And my son is one of the proof, and so is my family. They don't hardly ever pray. But my son, that day when I was in the hospital, he went home, he kneeled down on side his bed with him and my granddaughter, and they prayed.
Amen. Amen.
And their prayers was answered.
Yes.
God gave me the chance.
Praise God.
Amen.
So I thank God every day in my life. I owe my life to God, and I'm telling him whatever I have belongs to him.
Amen. Thank you, Lord.
You're welcome.
Amen. Amen.